Hello everybody. Final Rich. Final Finds 131. Brought to you by Grails. This is my Screw Record Store Day video. I planned on doing this on Record Store Day. Back in March, I looked at the list. There were 24 items on Record Store Day that looked interesting. I said, come on, you know. Whittled it down to 9. And out of those 9, there was only 2 that were really kind of special to me. One was the BBC recordings by the Pogues, and the other was Soft Parade by the Doors, without the added orchestration and horns and stuff. That sounded pretty cool. But I started thinking about it. You know what? The amount of money that I spent on Record Store Day last year, I could have picked up 3 or 4 grails, you know? And that's what I decided to do. So with that money, I ordered 4 items online. And I planned on making this video on Record Store Day, but one of the items didn't arrive until last Saturday. So I'm making it now. Screw Record Store Day. Now the first one, it's the first album by The Crass. The Feeding of the 5,000. This is the one that arrived Saturday from England. I don't know, man. It was in the mail somewhere. The seller is Super Bubble. He was a really good seller. He communicated, and he said he's never had this problem before, and we'll work something out. And, you know, finally it arrived, and I let him know, and it was, you know, it all worked out. This is their first album. This is actually the second press. I think it came out in 1981 when Penis Envy came out. And this is the press that I wanted. When this album originally came out, the pressing plants in England refused to press this album unless they removed the first song on side 1, which is just a spoken word thing, anti-religious. And what they did is they just left it blank. And I didn't really want a record with a minute and something blank, you know, at the beginning. On this second press, they have the song on there. So this is the press that I wanted. It comes on Crass Records. Really thick vinyl. And it's in great shape. This is I don't think it was played. I mean, there's not even... There may be a few superficial markings, but... Like all the Crass stuff, it pulls out into a poster. And it even pulls out again. But, you know, whatever. I'm not going to bother with that shit. Great album. One of the first hardcore... It's called anarcho-punk, but it's kind of a hardcore vein, you know. Fantastic stuff. If you're not familiar with Crass, I really love him. I think the singer, Steve Ignorant, I put him in my 20 best punk rock singers. Really crunchy guitars, and the drums are kind of like military. You know, really just on the beat. Really great stuff. Their first album, glad to have it, filled a big hole in Richard's collection. The second one here, it's not the press I wanted, but for the price, it's the Stooges' Funhouse. I didn't have this album. I have a first pressing of their debut. I have a first pressing of Raw Power. I did not have this album. This is actually a second press, a French second pressing of this. I mean, I would love to have a U.S. first pressing, but they're like hundreds of dollars in that. You know, whatever. This is fine. I would say the cover's in VG Plus condition. I mean, it's actually not bad shape at all. this has always been my least favorite Stooges album. I mean, I like it, but it seemed to me like the sax was just added on, and I don't know. But I dig it, man. It's a great album. All three of their albums are great. I think I would like to hear these tunes without the sax, you know. But I think most people are familiar with Funhouse, TVI, 1970. Just, it's a fantastic album all the way through. And the sax is pretty cool, man. I must admit. This third one, it came, and I did that San Francisco bands, and I was tempted to throw this in there, but I go, you know what? I didn't own this. I hadn't never shown this, so I put it in. I'm gonna put it in this video, and it's the Lewd American Wino. It's a San Francisco band. I think they may have originated in Seattle. They moved to Frisco, released this album. This is one of my favorite punk albums from San Francisco by far. And I would have included this in my San Francisco bands video. Just a really cool shot of the band, you know. Typical band back in those days, you know. Nerdy guy with glasses, a girl bass player. Just a fantastic early 80s hardcore punk album. Early 80s hardcore punk is my favorite era of punk. And this is a big hole, woo, that I just feel. And black vinyl, glorious black vinyl. The labels look like this. And this side says Lewd. Really cool. So those were the first three that came to mind. And then the fourth one I decided on, I had a CD that I only bought last year. And I only became aware of this record last year. And it's called New York Thrash. And this, the CD version is different than this. It was only released on vinyl in Europe. It was never released on vinyl in the US. And it's on that ROIR label, which is basically was a cassette tape label here in the States. Patti Smith's first album was released on that, or record was released on that. The Bad Brains' first release was on that label. But this is a comp. New York punk bands. And this came out in maybe 81. I should have looked it up. And yeah, it's got Adrenaline OD, the Bad Brains, the Beastie Boys, Even Words, False Prophets, Fiends, Heart Attack, Kraut, Mad, Nihilistics, and the Undead. Mad, I think it's Mad. This is, I mean, New York, I might as well show this. Has a little write-up about it, and it's pretty interesting. And it's talking about the New York, quote-unquote, punk bands that most people, you know, consider, you know, punk started in New York with the Ramones and that whole CBGB scene. And basically, these guys are saying, with, you know, with the exception of maybe the Ramones, most of those bands really weren't punk. I don't necessarily agree with that, but this is the Roar sessions. And it was basically saying, you know, this is the first wave of bands that was made by kids, and instead of the arty crowd, you know. But yeah, the first song in here by The Mad, I Hate Music, it is worth the price of admission on its own. It is fantastic, and I may leave a link to that song. But yeah, it's got two really good early Bad Brains. The Beastie Boys songs are okay. The False Prophets, which is a band that I was familiar with, are probably my least favorite actually on this album. But overall, it's a really great album, and let's see if it shows what year. I know it probably says on this paper here. I think it was 81. It doesn't say in here. And the writing back here is so small, and it's in red. Ridiculous. But yeah, New York thrash. Thrash was not a heavy metal term originally. Just fantastic comp. And on the CD comp, there was a couple of bonus tracks by this band here, the Stimulators. They were live tracks. They were okay, nothing great. But I saw this on Bandcamp, a reissue of this, and the Stimulators are considered the first New York hardcore punk band. And it has what's his name, Harley Flanagan on drums. Who ended up forming the Cro-Mags. It's a 3-song, seven-inch, and it's really, really good stuff. It's not real abrasive. Most people would like it. It's Loud, Fast Rules, and that's based on this jacket. It's a photograph by that. What's that guy that did all those? He was a friend of Patti Smith, I think. Marlon Thorpe or something. Whatever. Anyways, New York thrash was the 4th one. Then I saw a video 2 months ago by Kim Gordon's Single. He did a video on Spacemen 3. I go, man. I've listened to them on YouTube. I own nothing by them. And he showed this album, their first album, Sound of Confusion. This is a second press. I think it came out in 78 or 9. And he mentioned, okay, the first presses sell for maybe 100 or something like that. But he mentioned that these second presses have the same writing in the dead wax. So he thinks it's pretty close to the as far as the mastering. And I got this for $30, So yeah. Spaceman 3, Sound of Confusion, really, really great, psychedelic sounding. If you look in the Rolling Stone record guide, it says this album is maybe a little too punky. You should start with their second one. And little too punky. I'm sure this is the one I want to start with, Fantastic stuff, though. Spaceman 3. A band that I really wasn't familiar with back in the day, UK import. I found a copy from a US seller, and I got it for $30, So yeah, I got those 5 albums, 5 albums, instead of Record Store Day. So I don't think I'm going to do Record Store Day this year. It might not even happen anyways, And I got 3 other albums here. Actually 4. New bands. Stuff I ordered. One from France, one from England, and one from Canada. This first one is the French band, the Litar. I don't know. I know that's not how you pronounce it, but I'm a dumb ass American. That's how I pronounce it. Of the 3 albums, this is my least favorite of the 3. All the songs kind of sound the same. I don't know. I've listened to it, and I've listened to it again, and it's not a great album. It's okay. I've been buying some French punk stuff recently, and they got a really good scene there in France. And this is probably my least favorite. And this is what the labels look like. I mean, I'll keep it. This is the words. All in French. Next one is another album out of France. Oi album. Oi, the album volume 2. And I bought this because there's a Coupe Gorge. I know that's not how you pronounce that either. Song on here. Probably my favorite band. One of my favorite current bands. My favorite band from France. So I bought it because of that. And it's a comp. And the Coupe Gorge song is not even the best song on here. This is fantastic. The range of styles and types of music on here, it really blew me away. Just fantastic. I think it's hard to find here in the States. And my copy, I was a little disappointed. It had this seam split on the top. They shipped it with the record inside, and it was loose inside the packaging. I was a little bummed, but whatever. I don't normally complain about the packaging, but I don't know, man. That's a little extreme, you know. But yeah, fantastic album cover with this Oi gal looking at records. Just really cool. And the sleeve has pictures of all the bands. And it's just a great fucking album, man. I'm not going to go into all the individual songs. Yeah, this is the band. The reason I bought that is because of this band here. Now this next one, it's a band from London. And I heard of these guys because 3 members from Gutter Knife, which is an album I have, are in this next band. And it's Chubby and the Gang. Actually, 2 members that are on this album are on this. And one of them is Luke Austin. Now, Luke Austin is actually the vocalist on Gutter Knife, so I don't know what he plays on this. It doesn't really say. And this guy here, the guitar player, is on Gutter Knife. Now this, I probably think, yeah, I like this better than I do the Gutter Knife album. This is like a mixture of Motorhead with the Cockney Rejects kind of street vibe. It's really good album. Now I remember when Motorhead first came out in the the late 70s, even 1980. Their albums were in the punk rock section. They were not in the heavy metal section. In fact, heavy metal albums in the U.S. in 1980 were most of them were pretty lame. But yeah, Motorhead, man. This album, it has one song has got Hammond organ in it. Another song has sax. Just a really good listen. And it's on red vinyl. Well, let me show the little insert. Chubby and the Gang. It's the big boys with the big noise. Yeah, I guess these guys are considered an all-star band. UK punk. They're members from a lot of the other bands that I don't really know. And it's on red vinyl. Really delicious red. And speaking of red, this next album cover has some red on it. And of the 3, this is probably my favorite one. Chain Whip. Band out of Vancouver, Canada. In fact, the singer sometimes sounds like Joey Shithead from DOA, which was a Vancouver, Canada band. Punk band. And yeah, this is fantastic, dude. The last song, I'm going to leave a link probably to the last song on side 1. It's like the epic song on the album. It's 2 minutes and 6 seconds long. That's the longest song in the album. But yeah, this is fantastic. Really hard driving. It's not brutally fast, but it's not slow. It's some mid-tempo stuff. Some fast stuff, but it's not really super fast. I dig it, man. And of these new albums from new bands, it's my favorite. And look at that, man. Look at this singer, dude. Well, I guess that's the guitar player and the singer there. But come on, man. How could you not love a band that looks like that, you know? Chain whip. 14 lashes. And that's it, man. I filled 5 holes. Woo, woo, woo. Who knew I had that many holes, you know? Yeah, whatever. Take care, everybody. Got tonight off. Watch some videos tonight.